Hello, folks. In today's video, we're going to be building a birthday countdown tracker using all the skills we've put together so far with lists and dictionaries. And we're going to add the added feature of wrapping these inside of functions so that we can keep our code organized, neat, and predictable. So we'll start off by adding a comment. This is going to be a birthday countdown tracker. And this is going to be, we can outline the program here. I'm going to use the three quotes to make this a like a longer string. And what we can do here is just list off birthday countdown tracker. What do I want this to do? I want this to keep a list of people and their birthdays. I want it to calculate days until their birthday. And I wanted to report to me a list of birthdays. Okay. So the idea here is that you have a birthday tracker so that you don't lose track. You know your friends' birthdays. If you got a lot of friends, you got to try to know when their birthdays are coming up. We're not gonna go so far as doing any automation with this, but we could easily make this a program that then would go on to maybe even social media and post things for us at a certain date and time. So there's a lot you can do with this once we have the information stored and ready to go and the skeleton of the program outlined. But more importantly is that we list off a list of to-dos and we can start organizing our code around functions in the idea of individual repeatable blocks of code that can be used over and over again. So we're going to do that. First off, let's go through the checklist. Keep a list of people and their birthdays. So let's set up a variable people, and we're going to assign this to be a dictionary. And the dictionary is going to be broken up by people. Whoops. I want to do that. There we go. And by people. And for the keys, let's do year for the first one, 2000. Let's do month for the second key. And for the value, we can set 12. And then for the third one, let's do day. And this is their actual birthday. We'll do the 19th. So this person was born on December 19th, 2000. All right. And then we can add another person. And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger here so we can see it all in one row. And I'm just going to take this person and I'm going to copy and paste it twice more. And the second person is Tess. Tess is going to be born in 2003. We'll do month 5 and we'll do the date. We'll do the 6th, May 6th. Okay, next person, we leave 2000. Month, we'll do 5. And we'll do 7. All right, so this is the day that this was recorded. So we have yesterday, we have today, and we have an upcoming one in December. Okay, so 3 people. Why is this throwing an error here? Dictionary repeated with different value. Oh, all right. So we have, let's do Adam for the last one here. Okay, so we have 3 people and 3 different values. All right, so let's go through the next thing. So the next thing we want to do is calculate the days until their birthday. So let's do, if we do it once, instead of having to do it for every single person, right? If we set up a function that can take in a parameter, it can take in an independent value, it means that we don't have to repeat the code for every single person in this list. We can just have the code run once and maybe just accept in a new person with new birthday values, and it does the calculation for us. Okay, so let's do define get days until B-day. And we know we're going to do it for each individual person. We don't know what that code is going to do yet. We'll just define it. Okay, we'll come back to it. The other thing we want to do is define a function that's going to report days left. Okay, and then this will be maybe for each individual, and then report days left per person, and then we can do define another function that is report all B days, and that won't take in a parameter. That will just be I suppose we could just take in a list of people up here, But we can just do report all B days, and we should be able to see that. Okay, so we have 3 functions. And why we define these 3 functions? We did it because we have 3 things that we want to try to accomplish. Well, these 2 are broken up into 3 different parts here. But we basically have taken the program. We don't know exactly what we're going to code yet. All right, so I mean, obviously I've gone through this, but when just starting out, you don't know what the final output is going to look like or what the structure of the code is going to look like, and there's no right solution here. I mean, we could build this a half a dozen different ways. So it's more important I just know to start me off, almost like an outline, like you're writing an essay and you have to have the topics. Well, these are the topics that we're going to have to cover. Okay, I'm going to comment these other 2 out. Just because it's going to throw an error if we're just working in get days until B day. We're going to do this one at a time. Okay, so let's start off with solving the first problem here. Okay, let's get days until the person's B day. So we don't want to have to enter a bunch of information and then update the program every single day. We don't have to babysit the math here so that every single day we have to go back and update what today's value is to do the math. That's fairly complicated and fairly annoying, and that's not what computers are meant to do. They're meant to automate things for us. So how can we accomplish this? Well, Python actually has, we know how to import turtle because we've done that before. And we know how to import random. We've done that before, but actually Python has a bunch of different stuff. And one of the things we can import to help us out is something called Datetime. And what Datetime does is a series of built-in functions that Python can use to calculate the current date and time. And they can do a bunch more than that. Well, let's just start off with, let's do get today. And we can do now equals datetime dot today. And it's a function, so I'm going to wrap it in parentheses. And let's do print now. And we defined a function. We now need to call that function. We'll just pass in some other parameter, none right now. And let's see what happens. None is not defined. I know. Get days until B day. Person. Person's not defined. Oh my goodness. Let's do. We pass it in with that one. All right, we're going to take out the parameter right now. Okay, good. All right, so now we got today's date and the time. All right. So this is, you can see it gets fairly exact. We don't need all this stuff, right? We just need these values. And we can access them separately with using datetime. It's actually pretty neat. So what we do is let's get rid of print now. So now we know what it gives us. It gives us the current date and time. Let's do year equals now dot year. We can also do month equals now dot month, meaning we're going to the now object, the date object, and we're just getting the year value out of it, the year property. Let's do day equals now dot day. Okay, so this is all deriving from this. We just call it once, we get the entire object, and then we get each of its properties here and just reassign them as variables, year, month, and day, so we can access them more quickly so we don't have to type out now.day every time we want to get the day value. All right. Okay. So the next thing is let's get the birth date. Birthday of a single person. All right. Now, here's where our parameter is going to come back in, right up here. And for this one, we're going to add in person again, right? And let's get the birthday of whatever person this is. The idea is that we can reuse this code, and every time we call this get days until B day, we can just tell it what person we want to know how many days left until their birthday. So for this one, we can do birthday equals, let's do a list right now. Let's do year, person. Okay, this person we're going to pass in, and we can access their dictionary contents by saying which one we want. So we want month. And the last thing is person. We want to have day. Okay, so let's see. What is it? What is it complaining about now? Month is assigned but never used. Assigned never used. Assigned but never used. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so let's do print birthday. And at this point, let's give it a parameter. So what we're gonna have to do is tell it who we want to have access to this, or who we want to get access to it. Let's do people, and let's give it Jonah. Okay. So here, get days until B day, people, Jonah. We ask it to find the people object or Jonah inside the people object. So here's people, our dictionary, and we get the Jonah value, and we pass it into this function using this parameter. So this becomes a placeholder here, here, and yeah, those two places. Meaning that when we go to type this in, Jonah, you can think of as a replacement of here, people, bracket Jonah, bracket month. And it just saves us the time from having to type out. If I could show you what this also would do. Okay, this is the same thing as people. We just shorten it by doing it as person here, as a placeholder. Instead of having to do people, brackets Jonah, brackets month, to access the people, Jonah, month, all right, values for each of the dictionaries, we could just, and we would have to do this for every single person. Jonah would have to get it, and if we add more people, then we have to add more to the code. We don't want to do that. You don't want to repeat the code more than once, so we can shortcut it by just giving it a temporary variable, unknown variable, and put it into the places where we want to have it operate as a placeholder, so that we can then replace those values later on with what we really want, which is people and Jonah. So let's put this person back. Okay, and now we have a bit of another problem here. So let's do now, and actually I'm going to do another list. Let's call it temp equals brackets. Let's do year, month, date, day. Okay, and we'll print this off too. Print temp. And so I want to see what, okay. So here's the two different things that we see. We see a list of year, month, and date, and we see year, personal, month, and date. So what we can actually do is we can add in a calculation that will basically tell us that the now object, okay, we can calculate from now, always now. We can calculate this future date. Now for the birthday, notice I didn't put person.year here. Because that would give us their actual birth date, and we could use this later on for like a function that calculated how old they were. But I want to know what their birthday is this year, right? And how many days until that date. So that's why I use the year variable or YR variable here instead of getting the year from the person. All right, so we see that we want the format to look the same in order to do this calculation. Now, if I get rid of temp, year, month, day, and just do, let's print out now again. We see that the calculation for now is going to look like this. And the calculation that we have just made for birthday is a list. It looks like this. Well, we can use actually just subtraction to get the two of these things, but it's not going to work. We're going to need to change up how this is actually going to look. So that means we're going to need to take get rid of print out now, and let's go back to our birthday object here, our birthday list, and we can't have it be brackets. That ain't going to work. Okay, so what else can we use? Well, we can actually use datetime for this as well too. Let's see, we'll do get birthday, and we'll change the comment up and convert to datetime. Okay. So birthday, we can go to birthday, we can do date time dot date, and then we can wrap whatever we want in those parentheses there, so they match. Date time dot date, year, person, month, person, day. We'll give it those objects. Date is another datetime function we can use, pre-built function. And we're going to print birthday. So let's print it out this time, and let's see if it looks closer to this, where it has dashes. Okay. So it looks much closer to what we had. To show you, I'll print off now again. Okay, and we see that, whoops, we see that the two objects are looking exactly the same, right? They're now date objects. And I can show you that by doing print. We can do type, and then we can type, let's see, type, yeah, it's just type. Sorry, I'm messing up my JavaScript. Type, and we can do birthday. And it tells us that that birthday list that we had, right, year, person, month, person, day, we've now converted it by using datetime.date. We've converted it from essentially like a list with brackets to now a datetime.date object. We've told the computer that it's a different type of object. We've given it now an object that has a year, a month, and a date in the same format that the computer would give us. And this is an important part of programming and like any sort of program development, is that remember that computers are simple machines, that they can't think for themselves and they have no idea what you're talking about. So we have to take something complex like how do we deal with dates? And you, as a human, can just go through and count up days on the calendar. Well, the computer can't do that. Well, it can do that, I guess, but we have to tell it explicitly, very exactly what we want to have it calculate to give us our results. And if we don't tell it what to calculate and we don't do it right, it will give us results, but they'll be wrong, or they won't be the ones we want. Or it will complain to us that there's an error somewhere. So here we want to be able to compare now, which is a date time object, that up there, and we want to compare our new variable birth date, which is here. Okay, so we want to compare the two of them, and we want to find out the difference. Now, the one thing I guess is that we don't want to have the seconds in here. So let's go back and let's go to the next thing. Let's see what happens. Let's do calculate difference in days. Okay, and for this one, we'll just do a new variable difference equals birthday minus today minus now, right? So birthday minus now. How many days left until we have to calculate it? So let's take a look. See what happens. All right. So here, let's see. So we have an unsupported operand types minus between a datetime.date and a datetime.datetime, meaning that up here we have a date, and up here we have a datetime. So datetime.datetime, datetime.date. These two we can't just minus the days between the two of them, minus the time between the two of them. We need to actually decide if we're going to convert the birthday to a datetime.datetime or convert the datetime.datetime to a datetime.date. Rewind that and look. Let's do that again. I'm going to try to show you, but that probably sounded really confusing. But basically, we have to make sure that they're the same type because, like I told you before, Python's going to complain if it doesn't understand what to do, which like all of us, I guess. So we have to take one step before, and let's format today's date for comparison. And we set up a new variable. Let's do today date and datetime dot date. All right, we'll convert it the same way. Let's set up the same format of year, month, and day. So we already have these variables ready to go. Year, month, and day. And now when we run it, we still have our calculation. Calculate difference in days. We just have to change the now variable. We're not going to be calculating now anymore. We're going to be calculating today date. All right, and let's go to the next line. Let's print the difference. Okay. All right, cool. So what we're seeing here is a bunch of different stuff here. We can get rid of the print type of birthday. We can tuck that away. Whoops. We're not going to need that. All right. So now we're rolling. Now what we have is we have the original date we got, which was 5/7. Our birthday is today. This is now. We have our future birth date. Okay. And we have the number of days difference between the two. So I wonder, can we reverse this? Will this give us the same value? Let's do, is it actually doing some math or is it telling us? Let's find out. Okay. Today's date and birthday. Whoops. Let's find out. Okay. So by reversing it, we take today's date minus the birth date, negative 226 days. And why is that happening? Okay, what it's doing essentially is giving us the reverse ordering to find out exactly when this will happen. So if that happens with your dates, just and you know that it should be ahead in time, it shouldn't be reverse. We're going to see reverse in a second. I'll show you how to deal with that. And there's a reason why we want to have a reverse, like have a negative, right, and have it count backwards instead of counting forwards the number of days. But the number of days is the same, right? 226 days. It's just a matter of what we're minusing here. So we want to have calculate difference. Birthday is minus today's date. Okay, and that gets us our 226 days until this person's birthday, until Jonah's birthday. Now, what we don't have here is it's not really cleaned up. We haven't really said, we haven't reported out all the people. We haven't done all that stuff yet. But for now, what we have is a pretty good head start on importing datetime, setting up our people object, and at least getting a single person's birth date in a format and does a simple countdown 226 days until this person's birthday. Once we know that, we could do a bit more with actually reporting out our days left. Okay, actually maybe formatting it with a bit of calculations depending on if it's for days, because I'll give you a little preview. Look, let's, instead of Jonah, right? Let's take Adam. Actually, let's take Tess. Calculates Tess. Okay. So when we take a look at Tess's birthday was one day before 5/7, so it was the 6th. So now we have Tess's birthday is minus 1 day. Okay. And why is it doing that? Because it's still calculating within the single year, and it's giving us how many days, not how many days into the future it would take to reach that. It's telling us how many days to reach that date if it's already passed. If it's already passed, then we're going to need to, it's going to give us reports of negative, that it's been negative 1 day. It's been 1 day since that event has happened. And so we can use this actually to calculate number of days since it has been their birthday. All right, we can do that. Or we can calculate how many days until their next birthday. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do here is, when is their next birthday coming up? So we don't miss it. We don't wish them a happy birthday. We want to make sure we do all that. We can use this. There's a way around this to solve for this. You as the programmer know it's negative 1 day. You know what it means. You know it means that the day has already passed. But if you're printing this out to users, they don't want to see negative 1 day, right? There's no formatting here. There's no polish, right? This is just the raw data we have to then process and make meaningful for ourselves and our users to make it a little more people friendly, right? The computer understands negative 1 day. But for the rest of us, we have to try to figure out, okay, well, interpret that. Well, what does that mean? And how do we display that or use that in a meaningful way? And right now, minus 1 day isn't really that helpful because that's not really going to help us wish her a birthday the next time it comes around, right? It's just going to tell us, oh, yeah, you missed it. You're late by a day. Okay. And especially if we're going to automate this thing, it's never going to be late, right? That's the benefit of this. It's never going to be late. It will always work when it needs to work. So that's enough for today, enough for this video. And what we'll do is in the next ones, we'll take a look at solving the rest of these issues, adding a bit of polish, and expanding its capabilities. So that's it for this one. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.